The Union budget has sent out a quiet but powerful signal, and it has triggered a sharp political reaction. For the first time in years, India has made no allocation for the Chabahar Port project in Iran, a project New Delhi once described as strategic, a gateway to Central Asia, and a route that bypasses Pakistan. The timing of this decision is crucial, and that is where the controversy begins. The absence of funding comes amid renewed US sanctions on Iran. Washington has tightened its stance even as India currently operates under a temporary waiver for Chabahar that is set to expire on April 26th. Against this backdrop, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor has accused the centre of backing off under external pressure, arguing that the budget decision is not just financial but deeply political.
Well, I think the reading is very clear. Last year they had announced 100 crores for the Chabahar Port in the budget estimates. Then that went up to 400 crores in the revised estimates, and in this year's budget it's zero, which looks like we're giving up on the port in the view of the current geopolitical situation, with the squeeze on Iran, the increasing sanctions from the Western countries, and the demand that we not cooperate with Iran. It's a very valuable relationship we've had for a long time, but it looks like we appear to be abandoning the idea of spending any money on that port. It may be true that there are practical obstacles. If everything is sanctioned, how do you spend money? And what happens to those who do go there? Because those companies that are active in Chabahar then will be sanctioned by the West as well. Even Indian companies will be sanctioned. So that may be the reason. But it does look like it's a surrender to a particular policy that has been imposed from the outside on Iran. The very fact that there is no money in the budget suggests that.
The Chabahar port has long been a pillar of India's regional strategy. It offers direct connectivity to Iran, Afghanistan and Central Asia without crossing Pakistani territory. It is also a key component of the International North-South Transport Corridor, a massive trade network linking South Asia with Russia and Europe. For years, Chabahar was projected as a counterweight to China's Gwadar port and as a symbol of India's independent strategic thinking. That is why its silence in the budget has raised serious questions. The government maintains that discussions with the United States are ongoing, with the External Affairs Ministry saying dialogue continues on the future of the project. But uncertainty remains, especially after warnings of additional US tariffs on countries that continue business with Iran.
On 28th October 2025, as you are aware, the US Department of Treasury had issued a letter outlining the guidance on the conditional sanctions waiver, which is valid till 26th April 2026. We remain engaged with the US side in working out this arrangement.
Tharoor also placed the issue in the wider context of global energy politics. He noted that new US trade measures have made Russian oil increasingly unviable for Indian buyers, even as Venezuelan oil has been eased back into the global market to stabilize prices. According to him, this shows how power politics increasingly shape economic decisions, even for large economies like India.
Well, it could help, though the deal has been hanging fire for a very long time, as you know, the Indo-US trade deal. But on the oil front, I must say that this doesn't surprise me, because, you know, what had happened was that Venezuelan oil, Iranian oil and Russian oil have all been sanctioned by the Western countries. And as a result, countries were buying limited supplies of other oil, US oil, Middle Eastern oil supplies and so on, Nigerian oil. There are some major suppliers, and they were essentially a finite quantity of oil being bought by an increasing number of purchasers. India was able to ease the pressure on the limited supply by buying Russian oil with the consent and knowledge of the Western countries. But now that Mr. Trump has cracked down on that and imposed a 50% tariff on India, that becomes unviable. And even for companies buying sanctioned Russian oil, they too face the prospect of facing sanctions from the US and others, and they have other businesses they have to think about. So obviously there's already been a significant drop in purchase from Russia. Now, if you don't increase that from another source, inevitably oil prices will increase everywhere, because what's happening is more buyers focusing on limited quantities of a certain item, in this case oil. So it was essential from the American point of view, because they also don't want prices going up at the pump. The American voter would be affected. So it was essential that when they tighten the screws on Russia, that they have to open the spigot on Venezuela. And they, after their action in January, this is very much very openly, one of the purposes of decapitating the Venezuelan government was to ensure that the newly sort of obliging administration in Venezuela would once again be able to release oil onto the international market. American companies would be producing it, and that countries like India, which were buying Iranian and Russian oil before, would now buy Venezuelan instead. But the logic is, from India's point of view, it will not cost us significantly more because world oil prices will remain stable, since you've got two countries sanctioned but a third one is being unsanctioned. And therefore the amount of oil coming into the global oil pool will ensure that prices remain stable.
For now, the government has not directly responded to Tharoor's charge that India has surrendered strategic space under pressure. But the larger question remains: is the pause on Chabahar temporary, driven by sanctions and uncertainty, or does it reflect a deeper strategic recalibration? What is clear is that Chabahar was never just a port. It was a statement, and its absence from the budget is speaking louder than ever.